Okay, so we've seen with this match master portrait that is very content and context specific that there's a lot you have to consider. And it's a real pain if you don't manage to get everything you want in your exposure. So in this case, because I was missing content enough to fill the frame in my one exposure, I have to composite between multiple exposures. But there are several legitimate reasons for that. And in my case, it was a focal length reason, because if I backed up any more while shooting him at this high angle, I was going to be in the middle of a busy street. So this solution solves that problem. Now here's another issue. My wanderer photo ends right here. So even though I really love this sky in my photo, I really need to move it all down to here in order for it to stay within the format. Because this is a lot of empty sky that doesn't really exist in my inspiration. So what do? I select around the sky. I duplicate it on its own layer. Like so. I move it down. So his heads are now in the clouds, literally. And now I blend that in. So you can move the elements of your own photo, if you know what you're doing, in compositing as well, to force the very best composition you can. Wondering which one I should erase back to. All right, so how do I work with that sky now? Well, the same way. Take my eraser, 100% opacity, soft brush, very soft now, quite large. I erase away from the horizon. Okay. And now in order to get that transition to work from the sky like it is in the painting, all these transitions of blue, I need to work at fairly low opacities with this really soft, really large brush. And erasing at low opacities like so to transition that horizon line from that light blue to a deeper blue. And those clouds will just look further and further away as I do it. You don't actually even need to do it that much. And I can be more and more subtle. I'm basically just mixing the blue I have behind this with the same clouds just moved down into my format. Okay, so once I have all those elements together, then I can crop it down to my final formatting so I don't get distracted working on problems outside of what I actually need to keep. So you see, hope I have a little bit extra on the bottom. I kind of like how that rock continues through, but to make it just perfect, let me crop it just to the exact size. So now it matches exactly the size of and the format of the painting I'm trying to match. Okay, so mission 1 accomplished. Matching the format. Now I need to worry about those other aspects. Lighting, backlighting, coloring. And the way we learned how to do that with the last demo is not to affect the image directly. Rather, is to make sure everything you have looks good, and then to merge it all into one layer. I'm going to soften some of these transitions a little bit. All right, now we're going to treat this all as one photo by holding down Option, going to Layer, saying Merge Visible, and now it's all on a 100% layer on the top. Okay. Now, above that, I make a new layer. I fill it in, Edit Fill with 50% gray, 100% normal. And I convert that to an overlay layer. And I'm going to do my dodging on here. Is there anywhere I need more brightness? Looking at this, if I squint, I see a lot of brights off to the side and around the figure in particular. And this might be where I cut him out so I can treat him differently than everything else. Not just him, but all these foreground rocks as well. It's all about foreground, background. Do a rough cutout first, can refine it later, as long as I'm not taking away pixels I'll need later. Remember, you modify selections, I can add to the selection or take away using a Shift and Command. So if I wanted to make it a tighter cut, I can hold down Option, take away from the selection, not Command, I'm sorry. Trim away at it. And if I make a mistake and go too far, I need to add some content back in, I just use Shift. I like this shot. I wish I was using a better camera than just a point and shoot to get it. It would be in better focus. And this is cutting it a little too close for my taste, so I'm going to extend it beyond, holding down Shift. Good selections, careful selections. This is why I recommend using a tablet with this project. Starting to get used to it. It's going to help us in our future assignments too, starting with our still life composition assignment, which begins on I'll introduce later this class. And if you want, you can always look ahead into the course photo bucket or the Canvas course page of the assignment sheets. See examples of that. But this is a particularly unforgiving assignment because we're trying to match something that already exists. So it's purely technical. It really shows you what you need to be able to control in order to execute the photography you want. We do it early, not because we have the best chance of success early in the class, but because it keeps us aware of controlling all of these formal elements in all of our assignments to come. It's the price you pay for getting to take color exposures. All right, so I've selected all of that. I'm going to hit Command-J to duplicate it. And for now, I can treat those separately, right? For now, I can move that above my dodging layer because I'm mostly going to be dodging the background, not the foreground. The foreground actually needs to get burned and get darker. So I use the dodging tool, but don't forget, before you dodge, you might just want to do a basic levels adjustment. This is my raw exposure. So I can try just lightening it, seeing how that works. But the problem is that really takes out my background, which I love. And if I push my highlights too much, then I lose all of that beautiful texture. So instead, dodging is going to be the right method because it's going to brighten some of these middle ground elements that are brightened in my inspiration shot. So I use the dodge tool. I set it on mid-tones, less than 30 or 20%. I usually like to keep it between 10 and 15. Nice large soft brush. And I'm just going to hit it gently, and especially around my figure. I'm going to brighten it up a little bit in the midtones. So his silhouette is helped to pop. And if I do it slowly enough with a soft enough brush, it will just feel like dappled sunlight, coming through the clouds, hitting the valley in little selected areas, just making my composition better as a happy circumstance. Some areas I have to hit more than others. Kind of bring out some of those highlights. You can also dodge shadows to get some of the darkest darks and brighten those up. But be careful when you're dodging. Try not to ever dodge highlights because then you go very quickly just to white. You can even dodge the horizon a little bit. Help that brighten up. It will make it look more believable. And the sky can dodge that transition, especially considering how bright the sky is here. Looks like there's almost horizontal striations in the clouds there. I can imitate those just by dodging across the sky. Now, is there anywhere in the background that's without the dodging? That's with the dodging. You see, it's all on my overlay layer here. Makes a nice difference. Is there anywhere in the background I want to darken it? Well, if there are, I want to do a new layer, fill it with middle gray. So just an easy way to separate your dodging and burning from your actual exposure. Set it to overlay mode. And this is going to be